Another huge story from The Chosen Season 4 is looking like Thomas and Ramah. And it looks like from the YouTube video this week that they might actually get married, which is something that I was like very, very sure was not going to happen. I think there's just a lot of rules that are being broken here, to be completely honest with you. I think there's a lot of like historical, cultural rules that are kind of like, okay, yeah, it probably didn't happen this way, but what if it did, that sort of mentality. And so let's check out this YouTube video. Let's check out the sections on Thomas and Ramah and just kind of talk through this whole romance that's happening here.
This scene finally reunites us with Thomas and Ramah.
I know you guys are real life dear friends, but is it awkward to play a couple?
Nah.
You're like, we got it. You're like, no.
It's actually surprising. I remember the first season whenever people started shipping us, and I was like, why?
Did you guys know that you were going to be a couple?
Look how young they look. Like, they look so different. Do they not in these other scenes from season 1? It's crazy.
From season 1?
Mm-mm. Funny thing is, I remember the last night of season 1 when Dallas walked up to both of us and he asked me to change one of the lines. Instead of Thomas saying he invited me to join him, say he invited us to join him.
He wants us to meet him in Samaria in 12 days.
I kind of looked at Dallas and I was like, what? And he looked at me, and then we're both looking at her, and she's just staring off, not knowing what's going on at all. And I looked at her, I was like, dude.
What was your reaction when you found out that Thomas was going to pursue Rhema?
So this is interesting. So Thomas is pursuing Ramah, but he doesn't have the blessing of her father unless something has changed in between season 3 and season 4. And we know that Ramah is going to come back in like episode 1 of season 4. I don't know. There's just so many questions I have, but let's continue watching.
I thought it was pretty cool. It was like, where are they going to fit some type of a romantic, arc into a Bible story? It opens up a lot of different types of storylines and whatnot, so I thought it was pretty fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
A woman of few words, I guess.
She's a woman of few words.
Oh, hey, he said that.
Stress the word something when you say, I wanted to give you something. Like I just can't. Yeah, I didn't. I know we weren't going to do the big thing that's usually done, but I have to give you something.
So that line right there from Dallas is actually probably the most important line of this whole entire thing for me, because what he's saying is, I know we're not doing this big thing that's normally usually done, but I have to give you something. So basically, what he's saying is, like, we're not doing a normal betrothal, but I want to give you something to recognize that we're betrothed. So he's going to give her something. Now, this is a scene that we saw actually earlier. We saw some pictures of where Rhema and Thomas are sitting out in a field somewhere, and actually Andrew is kind of chaperoning them, kind of watching, making sure that, they're not doing anything, bad. Real quick before we continue in the video, I want to let you know that we're going to Israel in January of 2024. This is going to be an amazing trip, and we've only got a few spots left. We're taking Isaac David, who runs Daily Disciple, along with John McCrae, who runs What Do You Mean here on YouTube. Some seriously amazing Christian channels. You should check them out right now. But if you want to meet with us in Israel and be a part of this awesome trip, then you can see all the links in the description down below to get signed up. I tried my very best to make sure that this trip was as affordable as possible so that you could go to Israel. So check out those links in the description down below, and we'd love to see you over there. Let's get back to the video. I don't know. I just can't really wrap my head around how all of this is going to work. I guess we'll see how it works in the show overall. To me, just like culturally and historically, it just feels off a bit. But I understand the show moves around a lot and does a bunch of different things all over the place sometimes when they have to. So here is not going to be any different. It just, I hope it works well within everything, which I'm sure that it will, because we have great writers and everything else of the show. So I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be great. Just cognitively, for me, it doesn't fully make sense there. I do wonder what the betrothal process is going to look like, since it is such it is a set thing within Judaism that, like, there's a betrothal process, there's a contract, like there's a whole thing that happens here, and then the man goes off to build a home, right? And then when the home is finished, the Father says that it's finished, and then he comes back, and there's a bunch of different things that happen, right? And it's all a process that reminds us of when Christ is going to come back as well. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. We'll just have to see. So let's finish this up.
So Thomas and Rhema are having their cute little moment over there. But guess who else is here? The Barnabula.
Shulabi. Chaperone.
Nice moment is talking. No touching. No touching.
Why don't you go ahead and
That's a good one.
hit that like button.
Make sure you subscribe as well.
And share it with a friend.
So the sun set, and it was time to tackle our first.
So that's the end of that one. I do wonder what's kind of going on with Thomas and Rhema. I don't have a lot of answers for that. But again, this is not like a hugely like biblical thing. This isn't like Rhema is a biblical character. Thomas, we don't know if he was married or not. We don't know if he got married later. Most likely, all of the apostles got married at some point, would be my guess. But we don't know what that looked like or how that happened. So again, Dallas is kind of playing with these possibilities of what could be happening and these different women that, could have been a part of Jesus' ministry and all of that different stuff. So, just playing with things that are kind of extras here, things that don't really matter biblically, but they're to add to the story overall of season 4. So I'm sure there's a good reason for it. I'm sure that it will make sense in context and all of that. So, anyway, yeah, we'll move on from there. Y'all know with the Thomas Rhema reunion, I've been thinking, could the show be setting up that Thomas isn't around when the resurrected Christ first shows up because he and Rhema are prepping the wedding? Super doubtful that, because he's there biblically, right? So he's there biblically right before in the previous chapters, and as they go into the triumphal entry and as they go into Holy Week, like he's there, right? It's not like he's absent during that time. So super doubtful that that's the case. Again, we don't really have any proof of that other than we know that Simon was married, and culturally it would have been very irregular for them not to get married. I would probably guess that all of them were married. I would probably guess that all of them had children as well. And again, that's from my belief system, but it's hard to say. It's really, really hard to say because we don't know. So this is my original theory. So just a thought, if Thomas and Rhema were not able to marry, could he be rethinking his following Jesus? Hence his doubts begin. So this is what my original theory was that they were not going to get married. Something was going to go wrong. And Thomas would then begin to doubt everything because he was so sure about Rhema that then he begins to doubt even more about everything in his life and the decisions that he makes and all that kind of stuff. So it's very possible that they could still be doing that and bringing him to this kind of doubtful situation. Again, I don't think that he would be as doubtful if he had a wife or, a betrothed person to lean on during that time, especially someone who is also a follower of Christ. So I think the story is way more powerful if things don't work out, and that is the reason, or one of the reasons why he struggles so much in this doubt. At least that's my opinion. I hope you like this small piece of our live stream. If you want to see the full entire live stream, I think it's like 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours long. You can go check that out on our Patreon at patreon.com/thesnipelife. This is by far the best way to help support our ministry and to get extra content, including a full podcast every single week that we do on our second channel, Better Not Easy. Anyway, we'll see you on the next one. Peace.